tracking. The fair weather friends and allies, Pakistan and China, have been caught once again running a coordinated disinformation campaign against India. A network of fake accounts and propaganda handles allegedly linked to Pakistan's military and intelligence have been pushing false narratives to influence perception in the aftermath of Operation Sindoor. CNN News 18 has accessed a government cyber report which confirms Pakistan's direct role in spreading disinformation against India. This happened between the 7th and 10th of May. Indian cyber agencies have traced the activities of multiple social media accounts, primarily based in Pakistan, over 4,000 of them, with alleged links to the country's military and intelligence apparatus. This report, shared with central agencies, has triggered a ban on various social media accounts of Pakistani celebrities and other Pakistani social media handles, and a few foreign nationals as well. The Indian cyber labs identified the timing of similar content that was shared by all of these handles, and there are about 3,000-4,000 such handles. All of them shared similar content within a time span of 30 to 40 minutes, with average engagement of over 1 million. These posts were marked by a distinctly anti-India tone and uniform messaging. It was widely amplified, suggesting it was centrally directed information warfare. It also revealed that multiple identified accounts had recorded unusually high engagement levels after the ceasefire was announced on the evening of the 10th of May, with cumulative reach extending well into millions, thereby increasing the impact and visibility of the propaganda. The analysis also revealed that those in the age group of 25 to 40 were the most active users on social media who were spreading anti-India fake content online.
Yes, News 18 has reviewed government latest analysis report on Pakistan disinformation campaign during Operation Sindoor to harm India. Basically, this report has been compiled after getting multiple inputs and information from India's intelligence agencies as well as cyber security agencies. This report also reveals the centrally coordinated disinformation campaign, and it also suspects that Pakistan ISI and armed forces were also involved in spreading fake news against India during Operation Sindoor. So when we asked about the pattern which was noticed by India and Indian officials, we were told that from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. bulk messages were sent through various verified and high engagement accounts, which include celebrity accounts as well, and they were multiplied and amplified by various other verified accounts. Some of them belong to other nationals also. What was the goal? When we asked about the goal, official told us that it was very clear to harm India's image globally, to dent the India's effort against terrorism, and to set a public opinion, pro-Pakistan public opinion, which they wanted to set against the India. But thankfully, thanks to India's fact-check machinery, which was very active during Operation Sindoor, they specifically cleared every single fact and also posted fact check from the various government handles, including PIB and other similar government official accounts.
Now, in a parallel revelation, top intelligence sources have also confirmed that a joint psychological operation by both China and Pakistan aimed at discrediting India's Rafale fighter jets. India procured these over the last few years from France. China is eyeing an entry into the Tier 1 weapons market. They are using the DGISPR to promote Chinese-made weapons on their behalf through Pakistan and the rest of the countries in the neighborhood. China is going after countries that have signed deals with Dassault Aviation for Rafale jets, India being one of them. India had placed an order for 36 Rafale jets, all of which were delivered over the last few years. Bribes were allegedly being offered to cancel the Rafale deals. Instead, the Chinese are offering their J-35A, which is a fifth-generation fighter jet, at a 50% discount. Pakistan, whose military arsenal is almost 80% made up of Chinese weaponry, is endorsing the J-35A. In fact, they made an announcement that by later this year, the fifth-generation J-35s will be delivered to Pakistan. Cables were forged, allegedly by China and Pakistan, and claims that France advised the grounding of the Rafale. Dassault Aviation, which makes the Rafale, and the French Defense Ministry have both denied these claims, confirming that this was a fake narrative put forth by China, in fact encouraging Chinese embassies and Chinese defense attaches in missions around the world to go on an active disinformation campaign against the Rafale. All right, I want to go across to strategic affairs expert Professor Brahma Chalani for both of these stories. First, I want to deal with the China story. I think it was Reuters that reported that China had actively told all of its embassies, its defense attaches around the world to actively involve and engage in a disinformation campaign against the French fighter jet, the Rafale, which India used and continues to use, but used in Operation Sindoor. How do you see this? Do you see this as sort of a global arms market warfare, China wanting to promote its own J-10Cs and JF-17s? But the question is, who's buying them?
China clearly is one of the world's largest arms exporters. Its arms are exported entirely to the developing world, especially to India's neighbors. Its biggest arms clients are India's immediate neighbors, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Myanmar in that order. And therefore, it's seeking to expand its export market. And that's one reason, the principal reason why it's campaigning against the French Rafale. But I think there's a larger issue here that the Chinese weapon systems in Pakistan's arsenal did not perform as the Pakistani military generals had expected them to perform. They were found short in terms of their performance. And that is also another reason why Beijing is seeking to smear other weapons systems, especially the ones that India employed during Operation Sindhu.
But I do want to ask you, though, how is this in keeping with what the Deputy Chief of the Army Staff, the Indian Deputy Chief of Army Staff, General Rahul Singh, said last Friday that there was real-time coordination between China and Pakistan to the extent that China was sharing real-time vectors. And the Pakistani DGMO apparently told the Indian DGMO that we know your live vectors, please stand down. How much of a concern is that for India?
Could be a major concern because even though the military hostilities were between Pakistan and India, China was a third party, an indirect party in this conflict. And it provided real-time intelligence to Pakistan. It provided real-time satellite reconnaissance data. It even retasked satellites so that Indian military zones and Indian military targets could be covered fully, enabling Pakistan to target them. All that happened as part of China's effort to ensure that Pakistan did not lose that conflict with India. So clearly, China was a key party in this conflict, even though it was not directly involved in combat.
So I do also want to ask you, again, this is in keeping with the story that our reporter Ankur Sharma broke earlier today. There was this whole narrative after the Operation Sindoor, after the 10th of May, that India may have won the war, but it lost the information warfare. And today Ankur is reporting that there's information with top government sources that over 4,000 Pakistani social media handles on Twitter and other social media platforms were active between the 7th and 10th of May, actively spreading disinformation. How does India counter this in the event of a future conflict with Pakistan? Because clearly disinformation seems to be part of Pakistan's arsenal.
Dhaka, information warfare is a very key component of warfare today. And you cannot wage warfare without being fully geared to wage an information campaign to also ensure that your narrative prevails rather than the enemy's narrative. This requires proactive public diplomacy. This requires a information warfare campaign. It requires thinking ahead before launching military operations. Now, one thing that India did that greatly damaged its standing, because this particular conflict with Pakistan, India clearly had the upper hand. It devastated Pakistan's air defenses and air bases. There is no dispute on that India came out very strongly against Pakistan, that it had the upper hand, it had the momentum on the battlefield. Yet, when the conflict was over, India's own chief of defense staff on foreign soil admitted that India had lost some warplanes. Why did he have to make that admission? Because that has given ammunition to the disinformation campaigns being waged by China and Pakistan. Look,
right.
nobody in today's world admits its own losses. No country does that. Recently, when the Americans bombed Iran, the Iranians said that they had shot down an F-35, but the news was blacked out by the Western media. There was no comment from Washington. Israel suffered quite a bit of devastation from Iranian ballistic missiles and other unmanned aerial vehicles, but Israel covered up much of its devastation. It never admitted the extent of the damage it suffered. Similarly, Pakistan has not admitted anything, despite the devastation India wreaked on Pakistan from May 7th to May 10th. So where was the need for India's CDS, while visiting Singapore, to give a video interview to Reuters and admit that India had made some tactical mistake on day one, and that as a result, India lost some warplanes? There was no need for him. We know about the tactical mistake. The tactical mistake was that the Indian political leadership did not give the armed forces the permission to take out or neutralize Pakistan's air defenses as the first step to striking terrorist camps. This is the first principle of air warfare, that you go after the enemy's air defenses, and then you try to attack and destroy your intended principal targets.
All right,
So
Professor
that was a tactical
Brahmasalani,
mistake.
we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us and putting that succinctly and in perspective for our viewers. Thank you for your time and your perspective. Thank you.
Network 18 is now the clear leader in digital media, with 55% more users on native platforms and social media than Times Internet. Network 18, the undisputed leader of news networks, way ahead of the times.